Two women are getting set to tour the countryside in a grease-powered car and interviewing people who have made cheap, homemade alternative solutions to mainstream power. Vermonters Dana Rubin and Hannah Blackner are joining us now. They're co-founders of an alternative energy website project, and they're here to kind of talk about what is called the Search for Convenient Resilience. Thank you both very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Our pleasure. Before we dive into this, I need to ask you a question, because I had a friend who who had a truck that ran entirely on vegetable oil. Not only did it run great, but everywhere he drove, it smelled like popcorn. So when you guys, you're driving a grease-powered car, what does it smell like? What kind of aroma do you guys leave behind?
Fast food.
Yeah. Burgers,
French fries.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's
usual.
So not only is it a renewable, it's an available source of energy, but it gets you really hungry.
That's right. Yeah.
So you want it.
We like to eat. So.
So talk about this project, and where did the idea come from? You guys met at school.
Yes. We are recent graduates of Mount Holyoke College, and we wanted to do something non-traditional after graduation. So we started to think. Hannah and I both graduated from the Environmental Studies Department.
Okay.
So we have been trying to be activists for 4 years. That's our degree. And we wanted to see really practical, economical, environmental projects going on.
So how do you search out people who are kind of doing this kind of backyard science and trying to make it work?
It's very much by word of mouth. We did some website research, checking online for various initiatives, various people. But from the people that we've already interviewed, we've gotten a lot of connections and have started making our way through that, just hearing about people.
And speaking of the interviews, one of the first interviews you did was with a geologist and hydrologist, Lori Barg, and she designed a simple water heater that she has on the roof of her home. So let's take a look at this video.
Yeah. An old piece of roofing tin. I painted it black with some old paint piece, so it's just hooked over the roof, which means I can lift it off and it doesn't penetrate the roof at all. And I have a thermosiphon system where the cold water comes in underneath, and it just snakes up the roof and goes into my hot water tank and preheats my hot water.
So it's really interesting that you're trying do you sense, and you said this is very word of mouth, but are you seeing a trend of people who are trying to go their own way, so to speak, and trying to come up with these kind of ideas?
Absolutely. There are so many creative projects going on, and small businesses. Today we were in Burlington interviewing the UU Church right at the top and learning about their photovoltaics. We were down at Car Share all over Vermont, and we just want to show, these crafty entrepreneurs, it's so simple to encourage others to do the same. And we can easily do it.
And what do you think of the stuff that you've discovered or heard about so far? What's the one that maybe you're most interested in seeing for yourselves?
Well, I guess sort of the big culmination for us was seeing the Earthship homes in New Mexico. That was sort of the first projects that we came across when we were looking. And I think once we get down to New Mexico and pop in there and see it, it'll kind of be like, wow, we really have done this.
We have about a minute to go, and you're going to be making this trip in a grease-powered car. So for people who don't really, how does that work?
Yeah.
Well, so you have to find a diesel, and there's a company down in Holyoke, Mass, Grease Car, and they have designed these kits for various cars, and so you install it in your car, and it allows you to start your car on diesel and then switch over to grease reserves that you have in the car. You usually have a storage tank, and then you can just run on straight vegetable oil or waste vegetable oil, whatever you find.
So you can kind of stop along the way and
refill.
Pick up the fuel as we go along. And
so when do you hope to begin the journey?
We set off September 1st. So in the meantime, we'll be traveling Vermont.
All right, that's very exciting. Dana Rubin, Hannah Blackner, thank you very much for the visit. Good luck on your trip. Again, the website is called The Search for a Convenient Resilience. We'll have a link for it on the info center at WCAX.com. Should be a fascinating journey.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Well, two Vermonters are back home after trekking out across the country and, get this, a grease-powered car in search of simple and easy ways for folks to go green. Those two women are joining us now. Dana Rubin and Hannah Blackmer are both here. Ladies, sounds like quite an adventure. Hannah, I might start with you. Why take this on?
We've been really interested in spreading a positivity surrounding environmental change, as well as a can-do attitude. And so we wanted to do that by highlighting sort of small-scale projects that real people are doing across the country to sort of get the word out that action is happening and it's not hard.
Now, Dana, we know folks in Vermont are constantly thinking of ways to go green, but it's happening elsewhere. Where did you go, and what are some of the things you learned?
We went to so many cities, small towns, towns of 100 people to really large cities. And we traveled through about 25 states and sat down with great individuals and learned about some cost-effective solutions for sustainability.
Now, anyone who's traveled across the country knows that it can come with some hiccups. Ladies, what happened to your car?
Ooh. We made it all the way to Sacramento, California, and our car was stolen. Yeah. So that proved to be quite the speed bump for our trip.
So someone out there was after a grease-powered car. Did you think they knew what they were getting into?
No. It's really, I don't think so.
It was definitely a speed bump, but it's given us a reason to really persevere, and we're even more fired up to continue interviewing and sharing all of the interviews that we came across on the road, meeting even more people and expanding the project further. So
we often hear about green-powered cars and solar panels. What did you see out there that might surprise folks at home?
Oh, yeah. We saw a lot of sort of small-scale local agriculture. We met with the Harvest Moon backyard farmers in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and they provide a garden consulting service as well as garden kits for your backyard or front lawn.
We also were in New Paltz, New York, and we learned about tool cooperatives, the idea of sharing of fuel garden tools rather than all of us having our own supplies, sharing as a neighborhood. We always ask ourselves, why do we all have one lawnmower? Why can't we share two?
Is it just as easy to think green when you're in, say, a large city? Folks in New York City or Boston, what were your observations there?
I think definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Every location we went to, they have different requirements of being more sustainable. When you look at large cities, public transit is something that we always look in. Their needs are very different from a small community, Vermont or any other rural area.
So let's talk about giving some folks at home some homework or some things to think about tonight. Dana, we'll start with you. If folks at home were to do one thing to kind of take on your mission, what would you like to see?
Sure. Hannah and I always talk about that. We like the idea of composting. Vermont is soon going to have a new initiative that by 2020, all households are going to have to start composting. So why not start now? It's really easy to take your food scraps, put it in a bucket on the side of your kitchen sink, rather than putting it down the disposal.
Hannah, anything you might add?
I would say avoid the phantom loads that your power sources are sucking all the time. Put any sort of electronics or kitchen appliances on a power strip, and always turn the power strip off when you're done using them so that you're not continuously using electricity.
Well, ladies, I know for a fact a lot of folks here are envious of your adventure. It sounds like it was really exciting. If you head back out there, we hope you can hold on to your cars.
Yeah.
Don't get lost. Remember to call Mom and Dad. And we thank you both for being with us tonight. Good luck.
Thank you very much.